Good day, and welcome back to the Vitality Project. I'm Dr. Bob. Thanks so much for joining me. Yesterday, we completed an exercise in identifying how it is that we can get caught in the victim role in our own lives, particularly if we're not paying close attention. Just for the sake of review, remember this: when the red alert brain hijacks our emotions and our thoughts, we oftentimes confuse our preferences, what we would like, with requirements, what we must have. This confusion leads directly away from resting brain and how that feels in our minds and bodies, straight into the suffering that goes hand in hand with red alert brain. So in terms of our exercise yesterday, I'm curious, what did you find out? What I'd like to do today is take a surgeon's scalpel, so to speak, and go even more deeply into this incredibly crucial understanding of the difference between the red alert brain's victim identity, which is based in requirements, absolute inner requirements, looking at the difference between that and the resting brain's alternative mode, which I think of as being some combination of acceptance and resilience. Insofar as we let go into an experience, grieve maybe not getting what we would have preferred. Remember now, the focus is on preferences rather than requirements. So we grieve when we don't get what would have been preferred, but that allows us to stay flexible and creative and move resiliently towards perhaps getting what we want the next time around. So I want to look at that key distinction, and we've got an exercise for you today that will help clarify the difference between these two modes. So for today, I want you to take a blank piece of paper and write at the very top of it, Distressful Experience Map. Distressful Experience Map. Right underneath that title, I want you to write down what someone did or said to you this past week that particularly upset you, something that upset you. Underneath that, right in the center of the page, draw an oval. And in the middle of that oval, I'd like you to write down what you believe that person should have done or should have said instead. After you've written that down in the middle of the oval, now I want you to write down around the outside of the oval the first half a dozen thoughts or so that arise around what your experience was with that person's behavior. What was most distressful to you about what they said or about what they did? I want you to write that down, little phrases. Okay, finally, once you've completed all of this, I would like to ask you to honestly evaluate your response to the following question. Here it is. Do I believe that my distress was more due to this person's actions, or could it have been more a function of the requirements as opposed to preferences? The requirements that I perhaps unconsciously placed on this interaction. So to simplify, is my distress more a function of this person's actions or my requirements? That's what we're looking at. I'd like you to be thorough in your self-reflection here and do your very best to be truthful to yourself, okay? Let's see what you discover. Thanks so much for joining me today. I wish you well between now and when we meet again. Stay safe, be well. Come back and join me and we'll follow up on this material as we continue to move forward to develop new skills.